So, contact your bank. Ask if they give letters of credit seminars. If so, when you want to go to, and then meet a smart banker there. Or just email me and I'll give you 2 or 3 names of people that I like. But here's another thing. Do you need a banker? One day, years ago, somebody raised their hand after, because I used to do 2 hours in an 8-hour seminar. I do 2 hours on letters of credit. Because it was the one thing starting out. I said, I should become expert in some aspect of this business, something. So I picked letters of credit, and I became an absolute expert. And that's where I discovered there weren't security. I just all my spare time, okay, I'm exaggerating. Some of my spare time, I worked on this, I studied them, I learned what a signature on the bottom left versus the bottom right meant, all this kind of stuff. So I was an expert. One day after going through it, and I have this young lady raised her hand and said, well, why don't you just use a credit card? And I was so offended. You know, no, there'll never be credit cards in business, international trade, and all that kind of stuff. And no. Because I don't know why I was offended, but upon reflection, I know why. Because if they start using credit cards, all my expert knowledge in this one field is worthless. And yes, they're using credit cards now. Visa's got the Small Business International Trade Visa card. That's not allowed in the United States yet, but it is out there in Asia. And it's for business, and it's for small businesses, for small business trading each other. Everybody putting it on their Visa cards. And this Visa card has a credit limit. You can qualify up to $10 million. I want one. Think of it, the frequent flyer miles I could rack up on a $10 million Visa card. Oh. So they haven't introduced in the United States because the banking regulations or the logarithms or the potential or the risk management, whatever it is. But I think it's interesting that Visa's doing an IPO in the United States, which means they'll bring a lot more money, which means they'll be bigger or more powerful, and maybe they'll be able to handle $10 million small businesses in the United States. So yeah, I see credit cards are security. If you use a credit card to make a purchase and you get burned, you try to sort it out, you go to Visa and they'll pull the money back. But be careful if you're using a credit card. There's the consumer credit card that's issued against your regular checking account. If you go to Paris and buy a Coke with that and you get burned, well, Visa will back you up, right? Yeah. Okay, if you go to Paris and buy 50 Cokes, Visa will not back you up. Because read your small print. I know you did never read all the contract agreement. You did not. I know you didn't. Well, in there is you cannot use this for commercial purposes. They're not going to back you up if you use commercial purposes. Because they want you to, there are commercial Visa cards associated with a business banking account. You're supposed to use those for commercial things because the fees are higher and all sorts of other things. The computers that consider the transactions are looking for different things. So it's a different system, different logarithm, different all sorts of things. So that's why they don't want you using personal for business, that kind of thing. But anyway, so back to page 25, 62 cards. Now down below, I mentioned the Danish minimum of suppliers overseas expect you to take a full container just because you're an American and all Americans ask for full containers, and then I went through that spiel where you get down to no, they don't ship full containers, so I covered that with you, right? Okay, so you go for as small a minimum as possible so you can do frequency and within reason. And so here's less than a container. The freight rate is $38.90, you see in the sort of bottom left there. There's 6.58 cubic meters in the ship at $38.90 a cubic meter. So the freight rate is $255.96, except there's other charges as well. There is the fuel charge and a container station charge. So it started out as $255. When you add 907 and 152, comes out to $417 freight. And this is where you need to sit down with your customs broker and work over, down the bottom right it says 417.83. You need to work over your customs broker to make sure they reveal all of the charges you're going to face today. Because they are adding currency surcharges. The euro went up to $1.50 today, from $1.44 or something the last couple of days. So they're going to start saying, we don't make as much because we're in international trade. We don't make as much as we used to, so you guys got to make it up now. Because when we printed those charges, well, we weren't taking into consideration all these other things. Oil's going up above $100, 102 today. So there's going to be these surcharges. And they can tell you what these are in advance, which is kind of amazing to me, how they know what's going to happen in the future. But hey, they've been in the business a long time, they've seen it before. So $417.83 for the freight to go the 6,500 miles. So that's page 25. Page 26 is the entry summary. What the customs broker fills out for you when they actually bring the shipment into the United States. So you see here, this is a form you may fill out yourself, but you cannot. Okay, you don't even have to be a U.S. citizen to import goods into the United States. There's no license to be an importer, you can't get one, they don't exist. All you need is a social security number to import into the United States. And this surprises people. We in the United States control exports far more than we control imports. You actually do need a license to export from the United States, but you do not need a license to import into the United States. So we actually control exports more. So does everybody else in the world. But we're rather surprising to the rest of the world is that we do not control imports. Anybody. Non-citizens can import in the United States. This is a big surprise to people overseas. So, just a social security number. So, and you may fill out all these forms yourself, but you cannot, because you have to get the forms right. So if you start looking at all these cells, fields, you don't know the answers to these, and there's really nowhere to get them. And if you do get somewhere that tells you there's going to be so many questions, you're going to get it wrong anyway, and then when you file it, they reject it. They don't correct it. Customs just rejects it. It's up to you to figure out what you did wrong. So right here, it's just too much trouble. And I'm setting you up because when you see what they charge to fill out this page, well, I just want to make sure that you're not inclined to ever try to fill it out yourself, okay? So here's non-electric lamps. There's the HTS number, 378 pounds. I'm about halfway down the page, going from left to right. 3,144 pieces, $6,500 worth. The duty rate is 7.6% on these glass candles. $494 worth, some other harbor maintenance fee and other customs fees. So total down there in the lower right is $523.12 is the total I have to pay to Uncle Sam to bring these glass candles into the United States. So that's page 26. And again, your customs broker can tell you in advance what your duties will be, what your timelines will be, what your logistics will be, what your costs will be as you go through these. So page 27 is the bill from the customs broker to me. So the first one is duty subject to liquidation, $523.12. You saw that on the previous page. And the next thing is freight, ocean 417. You saw that on the page before that. I'm not paying this twice. One of the things a customs broker does for you is they get the right amount of money in the right place at the right time. That's another challenge on an importation, is getting everything right place at the right time. So instead of you running down to customs, you running down the steamship line, you give all the money to the customs broker, and they get it in the right place, right time. Makes things smooth. Now the customs broker started to charge me for services. $90 for the filling out that previous page, $10 to put it on a computer, $35 for a bond, $125 to have customs look at something, $10 to make a phone call, $50 to talk to somebody in another port, since this went down to Oakland. Started to look like a lawyer's bill, right? Now, the customs brokers today swear they don't make money off this. When I started, this is all they did was fill out the paperwork. Now they swear they don't make any money off this. As a matter of fact, what I think one of the best out there, Expeditors International, does this for free. That's that article again. They give the thing that everybody needs the most, they give that away for free. Because what do they want? They want your logistics. They want to pick up your goods in Singapore at the warehouse, and they want to the factory, and they want to deliver it to your consumers, the retailers in the United States. They want to take the logistical part, which they can buy in gross at a low price, break it up for you, and charge a premium on. So that's where the real money is. So what used to be the money in the business, they now are more than happy to give away.
Und ich bin da. Ich auch.